we can change the family dynamic and start with the kids, then we can give them new coping skills, new problem-solving skills, ways to deal with life and feelings and problems.
One of them expressed to me that they were afraid of death, of me not waking up at some point. It's really hard. Never did I realize that that was even a concern in their minds.
What impact does addiction have on children? You just heard one parent describe how her child was afraid she would never wake up when she was passed out. Now new hope for children of addicts, helping them heal and hopefully turn around that addiction cycle within a family. We are joined now by Heather Dorman, a counselor with Peaceful Family Solutions, as well as Susan Ray, who is an alumni of the organization. You are a grandparent and came in here with your grandchild. First, let's just talk about Peaceful Family Solutions. What is your program? Describe it to us.
Our program is for children who have been affected by addiction in the home and or in the family. So it basically gives the children a way to understand what is addiction, to learn they're not alone, it's not their fault, and the importance that their job is to be a kid. Because a lot of the times these kids are very hurt and they think that if I was just a better kid. And so they take on that responsibility, and our job is to help them see that it's not their job. And their job's to be a kid and to learn how to talk about feelings, problems, and secrets that keep their loved ones stuck in addiction. And that's what we do.
And Susan, you came to the program. You had a child who was an addict. You brought your grandchild, though. How insightful of you.
Desperate. I would call it desperate. Because I could see the long-reaching ill effects on my granddaughter. Eating issues, relationship issues, anger, just almost every aspect of my granddaughter's life had been affected, and I couldn't find a place to get help until I found Peaceful Family Solutions.
And talk about that. How did Peaceful Family Solutions help you and your granddaughter?
Well, we were one of the first clients of Peaceful Family Solutions, and so Kylie was one of the first kids to go to one of their camps. And then the structure of it is the kids go for 2 days, and then the grandparents or parents go the next 2 days, and the kids find out about addiction and understand that it's not their fault, and how devastating. They get a better understanding of their parents' addiction, and then the caregivers, either grandparents or parents, come in the second 2 days, and then we get to hear, which is so important, to hear what addiction's done to them.
Yeah.
And addicts and grandparents and parents of addicts need to hear that. Addiction's a selfish disease. And so we need to hear the pain it's caused the kids, because that helps us do things different. Right. Things have to, and what Peaceful Family Solutions does is invites us to change along. The grandparents and the parents change along with the kids. It won't work if we say, okay, you do the camp and we're going to keep doing stuff the way that we've always done. No, it has to, the way that the camps are set up is you have to include the grandparents or the parents so that we can get healthier and we can understand the impact of addiction on the children. If we don't, then we won't end the cycle there.
And that's such a hard piece there, because we know that addiction is a family disease, but yet how do you, as a person who is watching an addict spiraling out of control, how do you help that situation? What do you do? What advice do you give? We had several questions on Facebook kind of like that, like, I have a family member who is an alcoholic, or I have a family member who is a drug addict. What do I do as a family member to support them? Now we know you can just bring a child to the program separate of the addict, but what do you tell people that are in that situation right now? They have an addict in their life, they don't know what to do.
So I would say get support. You know, go to Al-Anon, go to Celebrate Recovery, where there's other people that understand. Get with a counselor that can help you. Because bottom line is, as a family member, you got to take care of yourself. If they're not ready to get help, you can't make them get help. They have to want to get help. And sometimes it's consequences that lead people to seek treatment. And that may be me not enabling. It may be, you know, not giving them money. It may be that I'm not going to take care of the responsibilities that you're supposed to take care of. And those consequences lead them to seek the help that they need. And hopefully it may be an intervention, you know, having an interventionist and having the family all meet together and tell them how much they love them and how much they care about them and they want them to get better. And then they go off to seek treatment at a residential setting. So I would say, you know, take care of you first, because you can't make someone want to change.
And Heather and Susan, can you talk about a success story and how your grandchild is doing now?
I'd love to talk about Kylie. She actually went through the camp twice, which is not a bad thing, because you have, you know, you just need the truth. And so she and I went through it, and my husband Bill, we went through it a couple times. And now Kylie is 14, and she comes and helps as a mentor, as a volunteer to the other kids. The impact will be far-reaching for her, because she understands a lot of things that the kids her age don't need to know, but she needed to know the truth. And she's, as best she can at her age, has accepted the impact of addiction, what's her part, what's not her part, and how she's got a lot of choices. And I mean, that's freedom for a child trapped in something that they can't possibly understand.
Right.
You know, so very hopeful for Kylie. And actually, along the way, her mom is in recovery. They're not reunited yet, but that's a slow process.
Right.
You know, but we're very hopeful.
Well, Heather and Susan, we thank you for coming on
Thank
today and
you.
sharing your story. You are the voice of so many watching us this morning and on Facebook that were reaching out. And so thank you for sharing your story. It's brave and it makes a difference. And we're continuing this conversation in our state of addiction. This conversation will continue, and we thank you.
Yeah.
Let me
Thank
shake your hand.
you.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Heather.
thank
And thank
you.
you, Susan.
Thank you.